Hey everybody, we are Under the Gun Plus One, once again coming at you from Las Vegas, our beautiful headquarters here in Las Vegas. So welcome poker players, Nevada, and throughout the country and the world. I am Terrence Chan. This is Andre Ledoux. He is our senior marketing retention manager, something like that. In that approximate, is that even was that even close?
That's close enough. I go by many titles, including Joe Versace's Whipping Boy, but that is the title that's on my business card.
Joe Versace's Whipping Boy would look so much better on your whipping card, on your business card, because it's a very critical job. Because Joe can get stressed out once in a while, so he's got to release that tension. And hey,
that's fine by
you
me.
can take it. So I mean, that's good. That's a very important job that you got. But we'll get into more of the details of what you
right,
do
can't
around
wait.
here. But I know it's your first day back from vacation.
Yep.
You went to go visit your old stomping grounds in Boston.
I did.
How was that?
It was good. Some good, some bad. The good was that I had my boy baptized in the
Congrats.
Midwest. Thank you. And then I then rerouted to Boston. I was supposed to come back last Tuesday night, but rerouted to Boston for a funeral for a friend, which is no good. But it was great to see people. The weather back there was fantastic, and then I got to play some home games, and then to my local tournament room up in New Hampshire. So it was good to see a lot of the personalities that I, miss. They're not close friends, but guys that I definitely shared a lot of time with at the table. So it was really fun.
Always good to get back to like the hometown and see the people you haven't here. And if there's poker involved, it's even better.
Yep.
We need to get some real legal online poker over in Massachusetts.
Absolutely.
I remember my friend Matt Hoverlenko lives in Massachusetts, lives in Boston actually, and I remember he attended a rally for online poker. Maybe it was like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So obviously, Boston, obviously politically an incredibly important city in the history of the United States. So let's get some online poker up in there.
And strangely enough, like I worked for an online poker company for 5 years in Cambridge, and they were operating for I think close to 10 years.
Right.
At Everest Poker, which when I got the job, I actually didn't even know who they were because you just know the full tilt, the poker stars.
Sure,
the,
yeah.
Absolutes of the world. And then, but when I joined them, they were like the third largest, I think, in the world on Poker Scout, and that was a great experience. So it's just interesting because they never accepted a U.S. bet, but we're operating in Boston.
Yeah.
And we share a lot of similarities in that way. So yeah, we need to get stuff rallying. Obviously, with Jersey coming on board, that's going to be huge. That momentum shift.
Yeah, you might be closer
east.
to maybe making a few trips back to the East Coast.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. We'll
Yes.
see if Joe lets you out of here. Who's he going to beat up on if you end up in Jersey?
I know he'll find a way.
But one state at a time. We'll get them all eventually. Let's hope. But yeah, it was good getting some time out there. So you probably come back. You took a little time off work. So anybody who's got a job knows when you go on vacation, you come back, shit just piles up when you're gone. So what have you been working on? As much as you can give us.
Yeah, a lot of cool projects are in store. The nature of my position specifically is to retain our customer base, keep them happy. I understand, that a lot of that involves the product, but we need to do whatever we can, whatever's in our power to, get them good promotions, get good content out there, get our pro team, doing things.
Does this qualify as good content, by the way? I don't know.
That's TBD. With me, I'm not so sure, but when you get Joe on this podcast,
that'll
be
be
great.
brilliant.
Scotty's podcast was great too, and Danik's. So, no, yeah, hopefully I can do my part too.
Yeah. No, retention is like this thing because player retention. You're like, oh, we got this player, we got this guy in the door. Now we have to keep him playing, keep him happy, and that's kind of everybody's job. You can't just say you're in charge of retention because obviously, like you already alluded to, like the product. I mean, if the product is not up to snuff, people don't want to play there. Customer service, that's part of my gig. Like if you don't get a good response from customer service, you're not going to be happy. We've all quit a company, stopped shopping at a store, whatever, because we weren't treated well there. So but also promotions, marketing, keeping people excited, and that's a lot of what you do.
Yeah, and then to finish off on what you're saying there, like what this company is all about, and again, a lot of you guys are cut from the PokerStars cloth of the early days. Is definitely just good support and just again retaining the players, doing right by the player, and then you'll do right by the industry.
Right.
And that's a huge thing here, and like Joe says, even when it's regarding like SEO, if you just do things right, do them the right way over the long term, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We will come out on top, or at least be one of the major players in this industry, and that's firmly where I'm at. So, again, with the product inefficiencies or deficiencies, however you want to say it, we understand, and like I'm on all the I'm on those forums with you guys, and I try to stay as a silent voice as much as I can until somebody just gets totally out of line and is like, kind of saying that we're doing something that in fact it just couldn't be further from the truth. Like, we absolutely want that top quality product. We want top service, which
top quality everything. I mean, like you talk about, like I think a lot of people have talked about all the Ultimate Poker product. It's not up to the standards or whatever. But I mean, there's a lot of things that you just have to learn. Sometimes it's not just product. It's customer service. When we launched, we were obviously swamped. It took us days and weeks to answer people. We were really far behind in that department. The program was buggier than it was before. Some promotions work really well in bringing in players or retaining players, and some don't work as well. And we just kind of learn this stuff. Obviously, we're industry professionals. We've been in the industry a while, but this is a whole new thing for us. So we're just kind of learning this stuff as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And then even forming partnerships as well. Like, is there a stopgap to buy things, versus creating it in-house? There is always weighing those things. And right now we're doing our best to network with other partners in the industry, to kind of give them a little prop us, prop you type thing. That goes for the pros as well. Our promotions, we try to do the best in terms of engaging them, but again,
sometimes some of them fall flat, and sometimes some of them take off.
We just we did this Red Rock Ultimate Poker Challenge leaderboard, and that was kind of like, we literally just talked to the CTO and he got us a leaderboard, and that's the coolest part about being at a startup. And then in a matter of months, we could have this sick full-blown leaderboards with sit and goes, low, medium, high, have an MTT leaderboard, some cash game leaderboards. Like, we definitely want to move all the way, but it's sort of a baby steps thing right now.
And everybody has to get involved, like you said. Like, somebody decided they want this leaderboard, whether it's you or Scotty, somebody else.
Yep.
Then Chris Rossi has to put it together and put it up. Somebody has to put it on the web. All this kind of stuff. It's very collaborative.
Yeah.
What's the favorite promotion that you've done so far? Like, in this
I'd have
sort
to
of
say
player
Summer
retention
Series.
game?
That was great, and we're going to run a fall series coming up. Where we're really hoping to even make the guarantees bigger, give players a reason to come to Nevada for online poker. It just seems totally counterintuitive, you would think, because you come to Nevada, really, are you going to play online poker?
Sure.
But I actually am pretty bullish on this campaign idea that Joe had about a sort of like this or that thing, where do you want to be cramped in at the live poker tables? Maybe a crabby dealer, maybe a crabby waitress. Not at stations, of course, but
and it's slow.
It's
live poker, slow. You can't
slow.
multi-table, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I personally I don't gravitate. I gravitate way more to the online game.
Me too.
Not now, considering
You have nowhere to play for one.
And the sites that people are playing on, it's a total crapshoot.
Yeah, you may or may not get paid and all that kind of stuff.
And it's the most odd predicament, because we're here, our competition has yet to come to market, but one side I'm like, oh man, they're coming to market, and that's may not be good for us, but it will expand the industry. But on the other hand, it's I'm going to get to play online poker.
Yeah, no.
Pretty psyched about that.
That brings up something that I wasn't even going to mention, but now that you did it.
All right.
So a very popular Vegas magazine called Vegas 7. They came in and they did both of us. They followed us around. David Schwartz, a very prominent UNLV professor over there, came and shadowed both of us. Wanted to do my side of things, Andre's side of things. I got the cover photo.
It only took you 2 hours, though.
Yeah, it only took me 2 hours, and Derek posing me in different spots. I felt like Lizzie for a little bit like that. I had to sit there and sit there and look pretty. But it was funny because he wrote in that article that your only regret about working here is that you don't get to play online poker here.
I'm jonesing for online poker so bad, man. I love poker, and obviously we got the rug pulled out from underneath us.
Yeah.
And then to see what was behind the curtain at some of these places, it was pretty bad. And I used to get all those emails saying that oh, your funds will be withdrawn for in 72 hours, and this was for deposits I had made months ago.
Right.
And I just couldn't even keep track because I was playing so much. And but look, the regulations. This is huge for the country. We have to be. Everybody has to just kind of take a step back and understand too that Nevada is a smaller state. The ARPU, as we say here, but the average revenue per the user that's here is just immensely higher though too, because you have your pros, you have your sharks, and it's not really sort of that baseline, that mean that we can go on, but we're doing anything we can to to give ourselves an edge in Nevada.
Right.
Obviously the crossover to the UFC is huge for us, and then with Jersey coming on and all the fun things are going to be happening with the Super Bowl and then the UFC event that got moved
that's
to
going
New
to be
York.
super cool.
It's going to be huge.
The Super Bowl and the UFC both in the same place.
weekend. I'm hoping we can do something sick for
going live.
that Friday.
Yeah.
And then, but we just have to be realistic of like this is just a stepping stone. Like we're always going to be here in Nevada. This is always going to be true to like this is where we got our start.
Yeah.
But there are just so many bigger things on the horizon. None which is more important than our product, and we understand that. And I want the retention-based promotions to live within the product. They're self-sufficient, self-standing.
And they're on the way. Promise, we're on the way. We
Yes,
said this
yes.
last week too. I understand. It's not our fault. We're trying really hard.
Yes,
People
we
are,
are.
we're doing this thing. We're gonna have, I think it's common knowledge. I think we can pretty much leak it that we've got VIP rewards coming for
Yes.
people who are regulars, and that's obviously the single biggest retention tools you have is say we'll take care of people if you're a regular, if you play with us, and
It is. It's called Color Up, which goes along with the gaming theme of taking chips and coloring them up to higher chips and getting higher values. So that's obviously done through the multipliers within. You have your XPP and
Yep.
and then you get paid out on your U points. But more things. There's like milestone bonuses. There's a lot of stuff that we can't really leak right now. There's some really cool stuff for the top tier, and there's top milestones that you can purchase that you will see and be pretty happy with.
Think of the words ultimate package.
Yes.
Just small spoiler,
Yes.
but just that's all we're saying is saying ultimate package.
Other stuff that's coming that you had mentioned before. So we have this thing in the works called Live from the Ranch and Live from the Rock. So GVR and Red Rock Casino.
We totally didn't steal that idea from anybody
Yeah,
else.
no. We're pretty original around here. At least it's in rhyme, as Joe would say.
Yes.
My ideas are pretty poor in terms of marketing. These are like the crown jewels, obviously, of the station fleet of casinos, and we're going to run 5-10 cash games from each property once a week, hopefully. We have purchased RFID tables that are
Ooh,
state of
sweet.
the art.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, some really cool tables, some good technology. We're going to have great commentary, and we want to bring that sort of kick back to stations room and have that crossover with Ultimate. Perhaps we can do a leaderboard in the future based off of that game, but just a lot of that sort of integration. Again, we do this stuff with the UFC. We want to do this stuff with stations, and
This guy gets to think of all the fun ideas. I had Danik last week. He has his like awesome dream job where he just gets to put all the features that he wants. He thinks should be an online poker
you get
room.
like chat, like on your
I get grandmothers complaining because somebody called them a bad name. That's all right. I love my job too.
One other great thing we have coming up is the Red Rock Ultimate Poker Challenge.
Of course.
That's the 200K guarantee. And we are running the leaderboard right now for that, but we're going to have an event. It's sort of like a VIP reception, and that's 2 weeks from this Friday night. And
What makes you a VIP?
Just if you're an Ultimate Poker player.
All
you
right.
want to come
So
down, you want to
everybody's
check
a
us
VIP.
out. Yeah, I mean, truthfully, and that's the way Color Up is designed as well. Like, you will hit tiers. Scotty and I designed it specifically so that you hit these tiers quick. At first, you actually feel that sense of accomplishment. You want a goal to strive for. I'm doing the Scotty, impression here. You got to give them goals. And so people are hitting that all along, and they're VIPs pretty much from jump. And there's something to be said for that. People want to play within their limits, and we're all about that. Like, we want to recognize them, and we do, and we recognize that everybody has value to it. Inviting them down for a party for some free food, some free drinks, like, everybody should be entitled to that. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Hey, so one of the things that you did a couple months ago, back in our first launch, and that I think a lot of people would be really interested about is you put together the Team U pros.
Yeah.
You were very much responsible for deciding, okay, I'm going to have this person and not this person. This person would be a good
Sure.
fit for us. This person wouldn't necessarily be a good fit. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are aspiring pros. They want to be a pro. Maybe they don't have a big name, or maybe they have a little bit of a name, but they want to know, like, hey, how can I become a sponsor pro? 'Cause
Yeah.
it seems like a pretty sweet deal. They pay me to wear a patch and do some interviews and look
Yeah.
good. So, like, what, as a guy who works for an online poker site and
Yeah.
is going to hire pros, like, what kind of things are you looking for? What kind of advice can you give to people who want to be sponsored pros? 'Cause I'm sure everybody wants to be a sponsored
Just
pro.
that nothing goes unrecognized. I mean, we have some Twitter all-stars, let's say, that play on the site. We have, back in our social days, we actually got the Team U name from our social players.
Yeah,
who
okay.
had created their own kind of culture. If
By
you will.
Facebook, you mean the social?
The social game.
By
that
social,
we,
you mean
that we
Facebook,
have.
right? Okay.
So nothing goes unnoticed, and we have some hardcore cash game regulars that will absolutely have a future as a Team U pro that we would love to pitch a deal to over time. Of course, at first, it's like you have to walk before you run, you have to
Yeah.
crawl before you walk type thing. We needed recognizable names, faces that had already built up their social channels. They already have a sort of following. They're recognizable. The press covers them, etc. We wanted,
You wanted Nevada guys too, of course. 'Cause
yes,
that's
yes,
super
hugely important to prop the games in Nevada,
Yep.
and also just to be, a personality, like a guy like Jason Somerville, a guy like William Reynolds, Brent Hanks, Dan O'Brien, not shorting anybody else, but just those guys come to top of mind. Antonio, even
Yeah.
with being the magician and all the things that he brings to
Just
the game.
bring different things to the table.
Yeah,
and-
it's not just about poker. These guys do great things for us, whether it's on the felt or off. Randy Dorfman, I mean, who can ask for more from a social standpoint? The guy's nobody,
As long as he doesn't get us sued, or that we're really, I mean, Randy's like gonna go down as the best thing or the worst thing that ever happened to us, and I don't know which it is yet. But obviously, he brings attention, and at this
Yeah.
point, like all press is good press.
I think he's fantastic.
No, he's awesome.
personally.
He's one of a kind.
And it's the type of thing, we're Ultimate Poker, right? We're the sister company UFC. You said it just this morning. Like, Joe is transforming into Dana White, like,
Dude.
before our very eyes. And
This is.
I
I'm
think
so
Randy has a
excited
large
have
part
him
to
on.
do with that, to be honest.
Well, that's what we want to do. We want to just kind of call it as it is. We just don't want to be buttoned down and just be fake, because we can leave that to a more established company or something like that. We're
Yes.
starting out. We're putting our stamp on things and says this is who we are. This is what we're about.
Yeah.
And this is why you and me are sitting here. This is why I'm sitting here with Danik or Scotty or
Yeah.
Joe next.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully.
great, man. It's cool.
So this is what we want to do. So we want to give it to you guys straight up and understand what's going on.
But to put the finishing touches on the pros thing, is that
Yeah.
the pros see the same thing. Like, we talk to them like they're employees of the company. And
Yeah.
we had a meeting with the pros last, when
I think
was
it's 2 Fridays ago.
Thursday?
Yeah.
two Thursdays or Fridays ago.
Yeah.
And, like, it was awesome. We got some great ideas, including some of the stuff for the spring series, fall
Fall
series.
series, yeah.
And it's just that thing. We want them to feel involved in the company and, feel like,
And they're the
part of
guys, to
this.
be honest, that should have a lot of input into the kind of stuff because they're putting in hours. They're playing on the site. You and me aren't playing on the site. Obviously, we've played poker online before, but they know what kind of tournament schedule that.
Yeah, and they've been there, like, from serious liquidity and stakes and guaranteed prize pools, and we need to just do this the right way, and there's none better than,
Cool.
they have the best qualifications.
All right. Well, I think we've given some people some pretty good insight into what
Yeah.
it is you do around here, other than get beat up by Joe and everybody else. But even though that's probably the favorite part.
That's all right.
But just want to finish on a personal story. So Joe probably wouldn't let you get off without telling the honeymoon story.
Okay.
So can you tell the story of your honeymoon?
Yeah.
Is
I
that
mean,
okay?
That's fine. That's
Anne-Marie,
fine.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big sucker when it comes to gambling. I've been in the gambling industry since I've been about 16.
Yeah.
Doing sort of sports bets with friends all the way through, and even my honeymoon fell victim to sort of my gambling ways, in which that we got on the boat and
So you're on a cruise for your
I'm
honeymoon.
on a cruise. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. And unfortunately, the first stop was Bermuda, and as they say, like, with Bermuda, like the triangle.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
of course.
But the boat tried 3 times to get in and couldn't get in, so they just skipped Bermuda. And instead of heading down to San Juan, like at 5 knots, let's say, they cut it back to like 2.5 knots and decided to keep us on a boat for an extra day. Instead of giving revenue to San Juan, hey, we'll just keep it on the boat. So I got bored. Within no time, I was playing roulette, and I was playing the electronic tables where you cup your hands and the cards
right.
fall up. Those tables are completely rigged, and I'm sorry if we have friends in those industries, but there's no way there's full house upon the things that I've seen.
You
on
sound
there. I
like one of our
Randy,
players.
the Doom Switch, but so I went to roulette, and the safest bets in the entire casino are red or black, right?
Yeah, it's easy. It's brain dead.
Yeah, 50-50.
You know what your
other
edge
than-
is, what edge you're giving up, rather.
Yeah, other than the zeros. But I said, okay, it's gonna come. It's got to come red at some point. I'm looking at the thing, just like the sucker, and it has all these black numbers. So I just put a sizable stack in my my bankroll on red, and it didn't come red. So I did the progressive or whatever that is.
The martingale. So you just kept doubling your bet
Just kept
until
doubling
you
it
ran
all
out
the
of
way
money.
down until I absolutely ran out of money. I'd spent basically all of our honeymoon money on gambling because it just never came red.
Fantastic start to a marriage.
Yeah.
Somehow you are still married.
I am, with 2 lovely kids, and I couldn't be luckier. Seriously, it's all about family, especially when it comes to crying over gambling losses.
Do we have a college tuition set aside from the
Yes,
game
of which my
bankroll at
wife
this point?
manages. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
I don't even touch the finances anymore for instances such as this. So
You
I'm
guys
glad
have
you didn't let
figured
me
this
off the
out.
hook, man. I appreciate
So
it.
glad you figured this out. All right, thank you for being on the show this week. Very much
Cool.
appreciate it. Thank you for being with us. Really appreciate your feedback on the last 2 shows, guys. Please keep it coming on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
On Twitter, I am at TChanPoker. He is I'm Dre, IMDRE. Tweet us if you got ideas about the show, any feedback you got, or if you've got player retention ideas for this guy.
Absolutely.
We always want to hear from you on Twitter, on our YouTube channel, through email, whatever it's going to be. But this site is all about you guys, so thank you very much for watching another episode of Under the Gun +1. He is Andre Ledoux. I am Terrence Chan. I'll see you guys not next week because I'm going to be in Florida with the man behind the camera,
right.
but probably we'll take a week off of the show and then we'll come back with somebody awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.